right. Hello, everybody. My name is Martha Alter Hines, and today I am doing something brand new and super exciting and super fun. So today I am here with a group of wonderful beings from the Infinite Soul Wisdom Astrology 101 course that I'm holding this year. And there are many others as well. This is just a taste of volunteers who were brave enough to be on this video. And so what we're doing today, I feel actually pretty emotional about it. I think it's really, really wonderful. The purpose of the course is learning astrology, sure, but it's really about the spirit world saying that the spirit world is holding a portal of remembering. That's really the point of the course. And so what we've been doing so far this year is really in various ways inviting in the wisdom of every single one of us, every single being, person in the course, and also connecting with just the infinite wisdom of existence itself. So we're gonna talk more about all of that and the wisdom that's been arising from each of these amazing beings as we get into the video. But part of the point is that, well, actually, really the point is that this wisdom, this ancient wisdom, is you also. Every single one of you listening is this ancient being of infinity, literally also. So the point of this video is to really walk the talk that I keep saying that it's really important to me that when I'm doing videos, that it's not so much about the wisdom coming through me, it's about awakening it in all of us. And so today, here we go. Like this feels like an example of really, truly, that you'll see. This is the wisdom that's needed to wake up in our world, and it's coming through every single one of us. So before we go into the sharing of what's alive for each of us here today, I want to invite all of you listening to this video to feel yourself dropping in and joining us. And in order to do that, I just want to really, really briefly take a moment for all of us here on the call and all of you, yeah, to take a moment to, maybe if you feel like it, close your eyes. And again, before we got on the recording, I just immediately felt and saw a huge, huge influx of beautiful beings of infinity joining us in this circle, of course. And so I would invite us all to take a deep breath and drop into our bodies and come into the sacred circle together. Again, all of us here on this call, we can physically see, and all of you, every single one of you listening, joining in a humongous circle of infinity, council of infinity, with spirit, the benevolent spirits of all of time and all of space, and in particular the ones who are holding the space of this course and this portal of remembering that we are the wisdom of existence, literally. And for many of us, our voices have been shut down for eons, especially those who have perhaps lived as women, but people of all identities. So we're in this time of remembering, and part of the time of remembering is remembering that we actually literally are the wisdom of infinity. And the world needs that, needs it through you, through every single one of us. So thank you for joining us. And so it is. Amen. All right. So just to briefly introduce everybody here, we have Chandani, Sophie, Barbara, Jennifer, Rhonda, Michelle, and myself. And so, yeah, so first we're just going to go around and each person's going to get a chance to share whatever's alive in terms of, yeah, how has your relationship with the cosmos, with astrology, with life, been evolving or changing or growing in the last several months? What's alive that you want to share with all of us? Anybody want to go first?
What's alive for me is the beauty that I can be involved with this subject, astrology, which is so huge and vast that with the mind to grasp it, if you just start studying it. I'm so happy that I have an opportunity to come in connection with this from a deeper level, because the mind is hard and it is not possible to grasp these things with the mind. But from the inner being, you can go into connection. And for me, this was a huge gift. And it is never-ending gift, yeah, because you can start to connect with the planets. I start feeling the planets around me also in daytime, yeah, like that are entities around, circling around the earth, which you can connect. And this makes a very rich life because you can all the time you can find some new little stories or myth or helps or ideas, whatever. So I feel, and also I got a lot from all the other fellow students, because everybody is a cosmos in himself, herself. And it's so beautiful too that everything evolves together, and I feel so much appreciated in my way of sharing, and I appreciate so much the other people, how they share. So that's lovely for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Chandani. Michelle?
I'll follow that up. I feel like it's really a living engagement, really, of the heart. And like Chandani shared, I think, I'm not an astrologer. I feel like, but wow, I feel like I am one now, in so many ways. It's been a really an inviting space to participate. And I call it co-presencing, where we come together and we're just exactly in the moment, in the present moment, which is really hard to do in today's world, to be present, to not be distracted, to really sit with the energies. And, sometimes, everyone comes in with different ways of knowing and different ways of feeling. Some people are very empathic. Some people are just really, really wise in different ways. And it's beautiful to be able to come together and to co-presence with one another. I feel like, and we're inviting the energies in of the cosmos. It's not just the human beings here. It's the trees, it's the plants, it's anything that shows up in the moment for us when we come together and we co-presence with the energies. The one thing that I feel that I've really taken away too is I've always felt like astrology is like, okay, I want to figure out what, with my head, okay, what's this mean, and how do I bring this to my own personal benefit. And what I've recognized is the energies. I've always thought of the cosmos being in the planets out there, and really it's about being in here. And so it's really an exchange. It's a way for me now to realize that not only am I bringing the flow into me, but I'm also flowing that energy back to the planet, to to the centaur, to the sun, to the moon, whatever those are. And they're very sentient. They feel. We've had some wonderful sessions, and I remember Venus in particular, where we actually looked at the planet, an image of the planet, and we spent quite a bit of time even in the astronomy parts, which is awesome as well, and really looked at the planet. And we all began to share, what were we feeling, what did the planet started communicating to me and sharing things. And then as we began to share, it just really heightened the energy and the frequency in the space. And it was a beautiful sharing. So I feel like it's a wonderful way to bring the heart back in to the astrology in a new way. Not that the heart wasn't ever there, but it's really adding and harmonizing that flow of energy between ourselves and the cosmos as all one, and bringing a wholeness in together. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you. I feel it in my heart.
Yeah, along with what Michelle said, this has taken astrology kind of out of being just in my head and brought it into my body and especially into my heart. And it's brought there's just layer after layer after layer of perceptions and learnings and getting to know the real beings that these planets are instead of just what we've projected upon them over the ages. And then even the scientific facts that we take in through the course have become an inspiration for me in getting to know these beings. And I get to take it in and give back, as other people have already said. And then it stirs a lot of creativity for me also. And each month that we've gone through, I've been inspired to write some poems about what these beings have brought to me or my new perceptions. So I have one here on the moon because we're in the season of Cancer, and the moon is associated with Cancer. And so we learned some facts about the moon, and then I approached the moon, and this is a poem that I was inspired to write. It's called The Naked Moon. There you are in all your beauty, a silver disc, a mirror, a reflecting pool. There you are in all your mystery, a calendar, a guide, ancient queen of the tides, mistress, wise one, mother. Though I am no lone wolf, I feel the howl rise. I feel the heave of my breast. You call to me and my body longs to respond. I yearn to love you and know you as my ancestors did. Oh, so intimately, oh, so constantly. On the silent wings of an owl, your beams fly to me. You have received the solar winds. You have received bombardments from the cosmos. You stripped yourself naked so you could take it all. Without the cloak of atmosphere, without the shield of your own magnetic field, you take it all. For my sake, for the sake of everything. Solar rays and lunar dust become a recipe for water, with which you distill the messages of the cosmos to their essence, so that I might also strip myself naked and bathe, receiving the illumination without the burn, receiving the wisdom without the peril and the pain. So there you are, in all your magic, moving swiftly on the wheel, shining moonbeams in every part of my heavens as you go.
Totally
So
makes
thank
me,
you, Martha.
yeah, it's like
Thank you, everyone.
amazing. So incredible.
I can share.
Yeah.
I had never studied astrology before this course, although I had listened to other astrologers that I was resonating with. Some I didn't resonate with, but some I did. It was going in someplace deeper, but it intrigued me to study more. And what's happened to me in the last few months of this course was something I didn't expect at all. But it's there's a whole other way of being, of showing up in life every day, because I'm aware of this living cosmos that is me, that I am a part of. And I'm held in this mystery that I'm aware of all the time, every day, whether I'm studying it or not. It is, the study is just living it every day, and just so aware of the living energy of these celestial bodies, the essence that they are, and the medicine that they offer. And that this is a cosmos that is evolving, just like I am and we are, but it is as well. And so not having a definition of things, but an ongoing awareness and presence. And I like Michelle's term of co-presence, because we're co-presencing with one another, but also with the cosmos and with the beings and with the planets and the Oort cloud and the Kuiper belt and the galactic center. They're real energies that are speaking to us and whispering to us at all times. And I'm just so aware of being in this mystery at every moment. And what does it want to say to me now? I also remember the time with Venus that was so, as we travel and are present with her, not just getting information about her. And I was so touched in that, on that sharing, that I became aware that her rotation is very slow. Who knew? I didn't, very slow compared to other planets, and very slow in relation to her orbit also. And I was just struck and had this sense of this sacred slow. How can I be present in my life to all things, whether it's love or pain or whatever it is, but be truly present in a sacred slow and not rush through things, and also know that everything happens in its own right timing. And I learned that in this connection with Venus. And so, and it changed, it's not just something I learned in my head, it's affected the way I show up in my life all the time, every day, with things that are beautiful and with things that are challenging. So there's a way of interacting and not projecting, and recognizing that in myself as well, that I'm evolving, and it might be one way today and then tomorrow it might be different. But how do we allow that evolving and changing and being held in this mystery with one another, with ourselves, and in our relationship with the cosmos? So it's really life-changing in terms of how do I show up. It's not just what I know, but I'm acknowledging and recognizing each day that I'm perceiving things differently in the world, in my life, and I'm showing up differently, with that intention of being part of, and knowing that I'm part of this ever-evolving cosmos. So it's like, okay, let's keep going with this and keep changing. And I so appreciate, as others have said, the sharing that we do in this circle, because I'm inspired and touched deeply by people's willingness to share what comes up for them, in some ways in a very vulnerable way. But people are willing to share, and I get enriched by the whole thing. And my intention is to share in that same way, inspired by your courage and willingness. I want to show up that same way for the circle and for everyone else. So I hope more people who are listening to this will join us, because we'll all be enriched by it.
So for me, every month it's a bit like a feast. it feels like we have a big table. We all come together, and Martha comes in and she starts giving us first the science and astronomy, and then the spirit world comes in through Martha, and we can feel and travel. And then we have all the myth and a bit of psychology with Chris. Sometimes we have guest speakers, so it's a very, very rich menu. But what's great is that it's everything is optional. There's no pressure. It's fun, very exciting. So yes, I clearly have a great time. And then each of us, we can contribute as well. What I do personally is that I look at everything quickly, and then I just sit with it, close my eyes maybe, and I see what stays with me really. And during the months, I try to write a bit about how I feel, what kind of relationship. I try to remember relationships sometimes that I already had with planets or parts of the cosmos and how they've changed. I write about anything that comes up. And by the end of the month, we share in small circles. And then this is the moment when we can contribute. And what's great is sometimes it really resonates with other members of a group. And it's we have really, heartfelt moments together. So yeah, this is strong. And so far, I think what I've really loved, aside of this connection we have, is the experience really of all the beings we've met. So for me, it was, I think I started with Aquarius when I had this image of, this vase, this urn as our human body, full of water, full of conscience and knowledge, that it was pouring, holding the body, and pouring the wisdom that that is in the vase into the celestial sea. So I started like this, feeling something new. And then when we traveled in the celestial sea, that was a very big moment for me. Like I felt really, oh my God, this is home. This is really, really home. And then again, Gemini was a big one for me. It all started with something Melanie Reinhardt said about the lost twin. And then again, I wrote a bit about it, and within my group, we shared on it. And I wasn't the only one actually that really kind of find again a part of herself. And that's what happened to me, like really finding, getting back in touch with a part of myself. So really, really deep and beautiful things, really deep. So thank you so much, so much.
Thank you, Sophie. And I think I just want to kind of emphasize that, like people are saying that there's so many different ways of engaging with all of it. And so I hope it's okay if I say a part of how I've seen you engage also is through art, right? And you're mentioning your writing, but I mean, there's infinite ways that this energy can flow and move through us. And that's one of the many, many ways I've seen it moving through you. That's like, wow. So beautiful. Rhonda.
Yeah, hi. It's all so beautiful. I'm finding myself feeling very emotional and kind of choked up. I was not expecting that. That Jennifer's poem kind of set that off. It's just so beautiful. But this whole it's an experience is what it is. It's a journey and an experience. And for me, it's just a whole new opening up and awakening of how I experience life, how I experience I'm not an astrologer either. And I've been, studying astrology on my own for probably 4 or 5 years because I'm very fascinated by it. But it's like everybody else has mentioned, it's not what you're learning and in the head, it's what's opening up from within. And there's just so many unexpected surprises all the time. And it's a whole new way of understanding. I think it's a whole new way of finding our own ways of knowing, our own wisdom from within that, we didn't even know we had, and having a relationship. And with me, a lot of it's about the energy and feeling all the energies. And then that brings with it a deeper understanding and knowing of what it is that I am experiencing. And then I am able to carry that with me in my life and in the way that I am present in my life. It's really hard to articulate because it's such an inner journey and it's such a beautiful journey. And to me, it's a lot about, it feels like it's opening up, that it's piercing through the illusion of separation. It's really helping with that a lot, and just undoing so many layers and layers and layers of programming and all of the things throughout life, and just having a whole new way of seeing things and experiencing things. And so it's and the sharing. I mean, everybody's talked about this too, but the sharing is just wonderful. I just love it. And people will say something. I think it was back when we were studying Mercury, and I had written something into the shared space on the Teachable platform, and Jennifer had responded and wrote something that for me just opened up a whole lot. I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense, and that feels so true. But I wasn't able to see it until there was another perspective. So it's just really this beautiful, beautiful journey. It's a journey and a whole new way of experiencing life and the energies and understanding and knowing. It's just really beautiful.
You're muted.
I am muted. Oops. No, I was saying thank you, Rhonda. And does anybody want to jump in with any other thoughts, feelings, anything arising?
Yes, it's so beautiful that you can, whatever way you approach it. Yeah, for example, if I see these pictures of Jupiter, then you can either you can think about it and collect the myth and this, or you can just look at the picture and something comes. Then you can choose also in different days, different approaches. And this, I love it. And with the space which we have in the group, yeah, it means that if there's such a atmosphere of appreciation, so that something will come out, because it's just the milieu of something sparkling up. Yeah, so whatever from the inside you like doing, or only listen the sounds of the planets, yeah, something is coming, and we have the atmosphere that it is appreciated, and then helps me to value it myself also. Yeah. So this I wanted to add, because this picture of this Jupiter is so strong in front of my eyes, with the colors calling, and what a beautiful thing. And something will get together with this. Yeah, something sparks will come. So this I wanted to share.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
That sparked something for me, Shandani. I feel like I'm always following you. You're always sparking something within me. I feel like it's like a membrane, you know. I feel like sometimes when we're together, it's like this membrane that we feel, and the little sparks just light up. And sometimes they're for us personally. We've had some very personal experiences when we're together. And I've had my own outside, you know, of just the time that I've spent. I think originally when I first came into the course, I was almost overwhelmed at the beginning, not having a lot of astrology background, even though I'd followed it for several years and worked with an astrologer. I think just I was a little bit intimidated by all of the stuff. And, you know, at first there was so much, and I thought, oh, how am I going to keep up with all of this? But I think what really happened, and maybe this happened for some of you as well, is when I just relaxed and I really began to just go within and allow each of our sessions to just flow, and whatever showed up, rather than trying to put something on it that I was supposed to get out of it. And I think that's what really helped me really then begin to say, okay, well, if this month something doesn't show up for me in Gemini, there might be something else that shows up for me in the constellation. And, you know, I was receiving, or have been receiving, a lot of fixed stars around the ecliptic, and different things that overlapped. So it's interesting how different things come in for each of us. And it's been a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to share it with one another. I've learned so much through that, versus having to show up with all the knowledge. I think sometimes we feel like, oh, you know, I don't know anything or whatever. And we all have some kind of value to bring. So I think that's really important as well. And I really have enjoyed the channeling pieces that Martha brings in. I think that really allows us to really deepen and spend time with the beings that want to show up in the space. I know that's been a key piece for me that's been totally different in the astrology that I've experienced. And I think that's been a pivotal piece, to have that time and have our focus on the spirit world, and allowing and inviting that to come into the space has been a key piece for me. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, I think a really common theme I've seen, not with everybody, but with a significant number of people in the course, is this a theme of people feeling, especially initially, like they want to be the straight A student, and they want to do it the right way, whatever that is. And they want to like make sure they've checked every box. And then there's a lot of anxiety with that, because that's how we're trained to be, right? And then, but that's extremely not the point of this. I almost don't want to call it a course like that. It even feels like it's giving the wrong impression, because I don't know what to call it. A journey, a sacred journey, something like that. And so I've watched a lot of people start at that anxiety level, where they're used to a certain mindset when they go into a quote unquote course. And then it's taken, I feel like for most people, it took about 2 or 3 months to let that go. and maybe a few people are still trying to let that go. But yeah, it feels like there's certain patterning with that. And also a certain patterning I've watched with on the flip side, like undoing, or maybe it's not flip, maybe it's just related, with letting go of the messaging that I think a lot of us bring in, that our voice doesn't matter, and that what's coming through, just genuinely coming through us, somehow needs to be shut down, or whatever it is. And I mean, of course, the two go together. Of course they go together. We're supposed to be this perfect straight A student who repeats the right answer, and that's the only thing that comes out of our mouth. As opposed to the point here, which is there is no such thing as A's or B's or F's. And the whole point is what is actually arising and wanting to come through us genuinely as who we are. Yeah, definitely those have been the two big things I've heard from lots and lots of people.
Well, and I'd just like to add to that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
No,
go.
no, Rhonda and then Barbara. Yeah, go.
Yeah, well, for me, because it feels like part of that is because you, Martha, have done such a beautiful job of holding that space in that way and really always emphasizing that it's everybody's own individual journey, everybody's own individual way of knowing and experiencing, that it's not about you're sitting here telling us what everything is. And I think that has really made a huge difference, especially because I felt that way in the beginning. I was very overwhelmed and, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do all this? How am I going to remember all this and learn all this, and as you kind of get into the flow of it and ease into it, you realize that that's not what it is at all. And so I just want to honor that too, that you've done a beautiful job of holding the space that way.
I'm glad. Barbara.
Yeah, the other part that's been really important for me in this is that I learned, like, when I was born, there's also, there's a zodiac sign, but there's also the constellation and what the sky was like at the moment that I was born. And so there's this real feeling of it rather than just looking at it on a piece of paper. And it's a feeling of what was present at that moment. And we've been able on this journey to kind of travel to that moment. What was it like in the sky when we were born on that day? What were the energies that were there? And looking at stars that were there, looking at clusters that were there, whatever it was that was actually part of the energy of the moment we were born, and traveling in that way and connecting with it in that way, rather than just looking at a chart and saying, oh, that was conjunct this or that, which is, that's okay. But there's something more that brings a whole other dimension to knowing what we are a part of and what was present at that moment that we were born. So that's been a big one too, which I don't know that, well, I don't know who else does what, but this is very unique. I'm not sure anybody else does this or has done it yet, but it's been very, it's just rich. It goes to this deeper place and opens up these different dimensions. So yeah, that's also part of it.
And
Well, and
to
related, Jennifer, go ahead.
kind of piggyback onto Barbara, when you tap into the sky at the moment of your birth and you feel a celebration. You feel a celebration of those beings, that they're happy that you're born. And that channeling part, I also value that a lot. As you take us there and we approach these beings, it's there that I realize that they recognize me. In fact, I think I emailed you, I think maybe I'm going crazy, but these beings recognize me and they value me as a being also. And that's when you really feel the oneness, that wholeness.
Exactly. Yes, you're not going crazy. If you're going crazy, but we're not. No. I was having a thought, but does anybody else want to jump in with anything right now? Something that's been coming alive for me, because as I've told everybody in the course, I learned astrology through evolutionary astrology and through more of a method that's much more cognitive. So I learned primarily from Moshe Wolfe, and also through Heather Ensworth. And Heather Ensworth actually is probably the closest of any astrologer I know of to this way that we're doing this, plus some others too, Kaylin Castell, etc. But definitely with Ari, I mean, he's awesome. He's very, very, very Sagittarian in a certain way. And so in his courses was much more of a, there is a particular truth, and it's important to learn that truth. And I would say, so a lot I've been learning, I've been holding the space for this course and learning as I go, because it's a totally different way of learning astrology, but it's also a totally different way of teaching astrology. And so I have to learn to teach. And it's anyway, it's a very interesting process for me. But one of the things that that's related to what you all are saying, that I think astrology has so much potential to go much farther with this, is for good reasons. When we are with a client and we're looking at a chart, we have a, of course, a tendency to think, I'm doing a reading for somebody and I'm the one who's going to have the answers. I'm going to look at this chart and I'm going to say, yeah, your Venus is conjunct your blah, blah, and that means this, which has its place. But something that's been coming alive, I haven't actually even started doing this so much with clients, but I've been definitely doing it with all of you in this course, is when we look at the chart and we feel into our own birth time and the reality that I was there when I was born. You weren't there when I was born, and you were there when you were born, and I was not there when you were born, right? That, I'm thinking of one chart, for example, where I think it's like Venus is in the 7th, Venus is in the 11th house, which means at the moment of this person's birth, Venus had already risen and was rising, not all the way high in the sky, but it was significantly up there. And I could have sat there and interpreted Venus in the 11th house in blah, blah, blah sign means this. Okay, that would have some value. But when we really dropped in and the person felt into that moment of their birth themselves, and I said, what do you feel when you feel that Venus? And this person said something that would never have dawned on me from analyzing in my brain the chart, right? And then I went, wow. Yeah, there's so much there to come alive if we are able to engage. Like, I feel like that's a down the road. I would love for us all to hold space for working with clients in that way, where it's really about the inner knowing and wisdom of the client too, that's going to know so much more than we can possibly know by analyzing their chart. And so that's a whole world. Like that's a whole conversation. That's a whole thing that I haven't gone down that road yet, but I've been feeling coming alive in this space with all of you. That's amazing and feels like very needed, right? Like, what if that person hadn't had the opportunity to say, oh, yeah, when I feel into my Venus rising at the moment of my birth, I feel XYZ. If I had just labeled it for them, that wouldn't have come alive in that moment, right? So what are we missing?
And I'd like to say, we couldn't do it without you. And again, this is something very, very special you're doing for us, because definitely I've understood things about my chart that I would never have understood on my own, even really doing the work, you do something really, really special. You hold the space, but also, honestly, you give us a lot of love and confidence, a lot. And this is something so rare, so rare that, yeah, I love the course.
Thank you. Well, same. All of the above. Michelle.
I think the other thing that it reminded me of is that, with your background being a body worker, that you've really brought the embodiment piece in to astrology. And that's something that I don't ever remember any astrologers really talking about and allowing or inviting that in. And it's really important. I think everyone feels things differently. For me, for sure, I feel it in my body, and sometimes that's where I feel it first, or I avoid bringing it in, or whatever. And a lot of times we can't really put words to certain things. We just know we feel it, and I think that's important for us to recognize too. Is this also is included a body practice? It's not just the astrology. It really, and the beings and the planets and the energies from the cosmos have invited us so many times to embody this, not just to talk about it, to really bring it into the body and feel it. And when we do, there's so much joy that I feel from them by bringing it in, and they offer it to us every time we gather. So I just think that's really important, that we think about the importance of the embodiment that we're also bringing in through the astrology, so that we can, be it,
Mm.
and be it, not do it, but be it. And I think that's really important as well, in our understanding of how to flow and bring it into our own personal experiences.
Thank you. Yeah, my Jupiter happens to be in Taurus. So it sort of dawned on me in the last 2 or 3 months that how much emphasis clearly there is for me with the body. And then I went, oh, my own Jupiter, me as a teacher, is in Taurus, which is a sign having to do with the body. That makes sense. Yeah. And Uranus right now is, at the end degrees of Taurus, and Uranus, quote unquote, rules astrology, which I find really, really interesting. And it's been sitting on my Jupiter. So it all fits. Yeah. Thank you. I have one more question. I'd love to go around the circle before we end, but does anyone else want to jump in with anything arising right now?
Yeah, what I also want just shortly to mention, like what Sophie said, this is so good to get the confidence, yeah, because for me, it also can happen that when I see the stuff is overwhelming, the material, then it's blocking. But we get the confidence that it will show itself exactly at the right moment. And this is so relaxing because there's no pressure. And the amount of things which have already showed up, even I don't sit the whole day in this course, yeah. Even sometimes I sit more time, sometimes I sit less time, but even the things which is, it gives so much confidence that what you are meant to be, what you are meant to know, it will happen. And this is lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that touches me so much also, and is so important to me, is relating to that. I hope it's okay if I say this, Chandani, you can just tell me if it's not, but you have shared, that some people in this course do not feel like they're meant to be astrologers, and some people do, and some people maybe in between, or some people they don't know, or whatever it is. But you're one person who has said you do feel like you are meant to be an astrologer, right?
Yes.
Do you want to say something?
I would love to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever growing, beautiful insights, which makes me every day high. So I really wish that, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I think about you, and I mean, this is true for every single person. I'm just using you as an example, but whether or not a person thinks they're meant to be an astrologer, this is still true. I'm just going to use you an example. But I think about you I've said this to you, you already come with so much incredible wisdom, integrity, grounding, like so many other skills. You're, a body worker, and you have so much you're already bringing to the table. And I think about you being an astrologer, and it's like obvious, of course, of course, that's true about you. And, but the key for me is that you're meant to do it in the Chandani way, right? Like I can see it, I can feel it so strongly, how that would develop as you, and that you would end up teaching me things, you know, that there, in other words, something I want people to be hearing in this video is it's so crucial to me that there's like this incredible masterpiece that is you, that is meant to be awakening as you, right? And the Chandani healer, wisdom keeper being is meant to be the Chandani version of whatever it is you're moving into more and more of who you are. And so this absolutely is not a Chandani will become another Martha. Nope, not happening.
And not the other Melanie Reinhardt. She's
no,
so possible.
No. No, and Melanie wouldn't want any of us to be another Melanie either. Like, no way. Right. So anyway, that for me is one of, like, I cannot wait to watch that unfold in you and in each person. Again, whether or not people feel called to be an astrologer, that's not the point. But I do feel so strongly, of course, that we really have been shut down over eons, over decades, over centuries, millennia, that the being who's truly, truly us, the wise self that's us, has not been encouraged to be who we actually are. And that's what I want us all to be feeling supported to do. Yeah. Anything else before I move to the last question? Okay. Well, yeah. And so I'll just say, you know, this video isn't actually necessarily intended at all to sell people on joining this course. I mean, in a way, sure, of course, if you feel resonant with it, please join us now or next year or whatever. But the real point is to spark just this reality, this conversation of everything we've been talking about, this perspective that we can engage with the cosmos, with ourselves, with each other, with life, in all of these ways we've been talking about. And so I'm hoping that that's what you're all going to walk away from listening to this video feeling, is that just waking up in you. That would be my wish. But I would love to go around before we close, and each of you say, yeah, what is your wish? What's your prayer for? What's your vision? Or, you know, what would you hope for in our world, or for people listening individually, in the coming months, in the coming years? It's kind of a vague, open-ended question, but what's your prayer or wish for people listening to this? Jennifer.
My wish for people listening to this is that they feel their worthiness, and they feel how much they're loved and valued by everything that is. And because that is so healing. And if we can heal on an individual level, it just ripples out. And so that is my sincere wish.
Beautiful.
That you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Much bigger than we can ever imagine.
Yeah.
Man, I think to add to that, I would say to really open up to your own knowing, your own way of being, your own, like you've talked about in other videos, your soul song, your own individual soul song, to open up to that and know that that you are, I don't know, what's the words I'm looking for? Yeah, just to know that you are loved, you are held, you are supported, that that your way of being is how you're meant to be, and it's okay.
I think that the fact that we're not alone, the fact that we are part of infinite wisdom and held in this mystery, that there's something going on beyond what we can see, especially at this moment in the world where our attention is, we're being drawn to focus on things that are happening in the world that are disturbing sometimes, well, a lot of the time, but that's not all of it. That there's something much larger that holds each one of us and all of the situations that that we could see if we focus on that. But to be aware at all times of this much, much larger, vast mystery that and divine wisdom that it's all held in, to have that be a part of our consciousness as we show up every day.
My wish is for people to find their own connection to pure love.
And for me, the wish would be, because this is so important for myself, to find this balance between the individual and the collective, or the group, that you feel this play between this axis Leo and Aquarius. Yeah, this is so lovely to feel when this comes into a balance. And I feel so good when you feel this from the way of this Centaurus, like what Melanie was teaching, this, that it is a continuous circle, and that you don't have any just answer, but this is continuously evolving as the Centaur is moving continuously, and you get all the time new insights. Yeah, this is my wish, because for me, this balance between the Aquarius and the Leo axis is very important. So this group knowledge and the individual knowledge, both is very valuable, and this has to come together. Yeah, this is my wish.
Beautiful. Yeah, that sparks so much, given that we have, Pluto going to be going into Aquarius. Well, Pluto's in Aquarius, but anyway, it's going to be doing its Aquarius thing for real in November. Anyway, yes, there's so much there. Thank you. Anything else before we end? All right. Well, this is amazing. You all are amazing. And I am so incredibly grateful that you have entered my lives. And yeah, I would love, I know we would all love for people to comment, share, put in your thoughts and feelings, reflections, questions, whatever it is in the comments. And yeah, if you are interested in hearing more about the course, I will put the link here. I mean, we're halfway into the year. If people are wanting to join now, I will hold a specific kind of welcome gathering for you, if that is something you're wanting. But we will start again next February 2025. And so you can also let me know if you're interested in that. And there's lots and lots of other ways you can get involved for free and through other paid things in this community. It's an amazing, amazing community, as you can see. And yeah, just be in touch for any reason, anytime. But why don't we take a moment and close out this time together? And yeah, so all of us here on the call and all of us joining in the sacred circle by listening as well. And we can feel ourselves coming into our bodies and the sacred circle of this space. Thank you so much, every single one of you here on the call directly and listening, for being part of it. And we can feel, I'm feeling like a sense of, we can each send, maybe raise our arms and send light straight up into the center of this sacred space. You can imagine like butterflies or particles of light rising up through the center of that circle, and like a celebration, like confetti, except non-toxic, environmentally friendly. Confetti of light. And just imagine that, those particles of light doing a dance of celebration and joy, celebration of you as the individual. Again, that Leo Aquarius dance, exactly like Chandani's saying, that we're all in this together, literally, and we each bring a divine piece of the puzzle that is absolutely crucial, that is absolutely needed. And the spirit world is adamant that they are here to support us and that we are here to support each other, to let that divine puzzle piece come through, to become present fully in the world as us, whatever that happens to mean, whether it happens to with astrology or something else entirely, or all of the above, simply just by being who we really are. Thank you each so much for being here. Thank you to the spirit world. Blessings to everything. And so it is. Amen. Thank you all for watching. See you soon.